Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Muhammad Islah bin Norman, and I will be presenting on a unique and highly important contract known as by Al-Istisna, or the Islamic manufacturing contract. You might be wondering, how does Islamic finance handle products that don't exist yet, like a house that hasn't been built? Well, that is exactly what we are going to explore today. Let's start with definition. Technically, in Sharia, it is a contract of sale for a specified item to be manufactured or constructed. But there is a very important rule here. The manufacturer, which is the seller, must provide both the material and also the labor. If you provide the materials and just ask someone to do the work, that's not istisna. That would be ijarah, which is hiring services. This distinction is crucial because istisna is one of the few exceptions to the general Islamic rule prohibiting the sale of non-existent items. For this contract to be valid, 4 key pillars must be present. First, the contracting parties. We need a manufacturer, which is al-sani, and a buyer, which is al-mustasni. Second, the subject matter, which is al-masnu. This is the item being built. It must be clearly defined with specs to avoid gharar, which is uncertainty. Third, the price, which is al-thaman. The price must be fixed, unlike by salam, which is for sale. You don't have to pay it all upfront. Installments are allowed. The last one is offer and acceptance, which is sigha. Mutual consent is very important. Without these 4, the contract is void. Now, let's look at how this works in the real world. Specifically, within Islamic banking, we call this parallel istisna. First, the customer approaches the bank wanting to build a house. The bank and customer sign the first istisna contract. Here, the bank is technically the seller. They promise to deliver a house to the customer. But obviously, banks don't build houses. So, the bank enters into a second istisna contract with a developer. In this case, the bank becomes the buyer. Once the developer finishes the construction, they deliver the house to the customer on behalf of the bank. Finally, the customer pays the bank back over time, usually with a profit margin. Of course, no contract is without risk. Let's look at 3 common issues. First, delivery risk. What if the manufacturer is late? In istisna, unlike some other contracts, we are allowed to include penalty clauses for late delivery. Second, non-conformance. This is a major issue. What if the goods don't match the description? Sharia protects the buyer here through khiyar al-ru'yah, which is option of inspection. The buyer has the right to reject the goods if they are defective or wrong. Lastly, price adjustment. Can the price change if raw material costs go up? Generally, no. The price is fixed at the contract signing. However, if the buyer requests new changes or variation orders, a separate agreement can be made. So why is by al-istisna so important? It is the backbone of infrastructure development. Highways, airports, and large real estate projects are almost always financed using this method because it bridges the gap between financing and production. It allows the economy to grow by financing assets that don't even exist yet, creating jobs and stimulating the real economy. To conclude, Buy al-Istisna is a highly flexible tool. It solves the liquidity issue for buyers by allowing deferred payments, and it gives manufacturers the security of a confirmed order. It is a perfect example of how Islamic finance facilitates real economic growth while adhering to Sharia principles. Thank you so much, and Assalamu alaikum.